joined. Let's see, what time is it? All right. So we definitely want to respect everyone's time. And so we are going to, let me mute the music. So we have a few more people that have entered. We want to welcome you to our webinar. This is our parent webinar for parents who have elementary age students. We will be hosting another webinar on Thursday for parents who have middle school and high school students. So one, we want to welcome you. Like I said, my name is Ms. Venable. I am the CEO and I'm also a licensed professional counselor with Smile Therapy Services. And we are a mental health agency and we provide therapy services for youth and adults starting at age 5. We're located in Washington, DC. Right now we're connected to different schools, charter, and a couple of DCPS schools. We also do therapy inside of the office. We do family therapy, individual therapy, group therapy, and also do a lot of parent webinars, trainings, and other professional developments for teachers. We would like to definitely welcome you all. Thank you all for joining us. Our purpose of this is really to be just a help for you guys. It's going to be very informal, and so we're going to give you all time to talk. And so I definitely want to make sure that we're respectful and that we can hear everyone. So we are going to ask, once we start asking our questions and you guys have different questions, we're going to allow you to talk, unmute you, but we want to make sure your background noise is very quiet so that we can hear what you're saying. And we want to be able to answer all questions that you all have. And so, of course, we all know that we are in this pandemic right now. We have a lot going on. There's a lot of moving parts. And, you know, the students are not in school. So parents have, you know, literally been forced to become a teacher, you know, on top of being a parent, on top of maybe still working if you are either working at home or if you still have to work, you know, at your job for one reason or another. And so we wanted to be here for you all. We want to help you through, you know, with the different challenges that you're having. We want to give you some strategies on how to work with your students, strategies on how to just be there for yourself during this time. And so we will definitely, we want this to be as interactive as possible. And like I said, we will make sure to unmute you as you are wanting to speak. So we will move along with our presentation. And the first, we just want to hear from you. So we have some questions that we have posed, and you know, what are some challenges that you're having right now during this time? And how have you been coping with the pandemic, right? And then we want to know how we can help. So please either raise your hand or write in the chat box if you would like to be unmuted, please, so that we can get you in. Hold on. Ibrahim. I'm hoping that this is Muhammad the mom. Hold on. Okay. Go ahead.
Wait, what happened?
Go ahead. I hear you.
Oh.
She doesn't know this kind of stuff.
Oh, hush. Is this for us or as adults or
for the parents? So you go ahead and talk.
Oh, So, what are some of the challenges for me not working, and then trying to get acclimated to the schooling and then sharing one computer because his iPad is not available right now. So he has to use my computer, and I'm not able to do things that I need to do to take care of myself. I'm not really, as far as the pandemic, I think the only issue that I have is really having to be in the house all the time and not being able to be productive the way I want to be.
Definitely. Thank you for that, ma'am.
No
Good
problem.
to hear from you.
You too.
All right, I'm muting you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to you, Miss Zachary. Okay, you're on.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So some of my challenges are now I find myself watching the news a lot more, and it's becoming like very depressing to see like how we went from not thinking about how can it affect us so much to now it's hitting us way harder than it's hitting mostly any other place in in the world right now.
Yeah.
And I'm getting tired of cutting on CNN and seeing Trump and just see that he's making no sense at all with what he's doing and what he's saying and not wanting to help. And it puts a strain because it's like I'm scared to go outside and do normal everyday things with my daughter because I don't know if cross contamination is a problem at this point now with everything. So it's a hinder, but it also gives me time to spend more time with my father, check in with people that I normally wouldn't check in with, which is also great. But it's just it's scary. I never thought that I would be living during a pandemic, let alone my daughter. So, yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Zachary. We really appreciate that, and we definitely understand. I think a lot of parents have your same sentiments. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay. Ms. Kelly Johnson, going to you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it's the same thing, being in the house, not able to work. You know, my 10-year-old, when she's here, she getting bored out of her mind. She gets bored very easily. So trying to keep her entertained. And then she has a school tablet that she has schoolwork that the teacher send. And it was a struggle in the beginning because I was unsure if the teachers were getting the work. She would do the work and it was like, okay, it's done. So how do they get it? So I've had to email teachers back and forth to, hey, she's doing her work. This isn't working. What can she do to help make this work? All the back and forth with the emails. It's been hella stressful, and trying to tell her like, oh, we can't go outside. We have to stay inside. And she's looking at me crazy like, I'm tired of sitting in my room. It's nothing to do. So, and then with me, I'm just like, alcohol has become my best friend because of this. Honestly, because I mean, the most you can do is go out for a walk. But even then, going outside, it's still fearful because you don't know, what's going to happen.
Right.
So, I stopped watching the news because, like the other parents said, it's so depressing. And every time you turn around, it's something new. You think, okay, maybe we're getting better, but it turns into something new. So I just stopped watching it and just started just trying to find other stuff to do.
Yeah, definitely. I think we definitely feel your pain in that as well. So we'll definitely be going through some tips for you guys. Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. Lakia Ilmo, we're coming to you. Oh yeah, that's right. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Can you see? Can you unmute yourself? Oh, got it. There you go.
Okay. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The challenges that I'm facing now are eating a lot. Now that I'm home, I'm eating a whole lot. I've had some people FaceTime me and tell me that I've gained a little weight, which is it's rude, and then it kind of makes me feel a little insecure in ways. I feel the same as the other ladies with watching the news all the time. I'm watching the news daily, especially CNN. Um, Today, I recently heard that you may not possibly be able to open your windows. I open my windows a lot. I take my daughter outside to run back and forth, but now that kind of makes me anxious and nervous. Um, I have an issue with anxiety and depression and panic attacks, so I've been trying to do things that will kind of calm me, but this is making me really, really nervous. I still have to work an 8-hour shift while dealing with 3 kids, trying to make sure they're doing their work and things like that. So it's overwhelming. I'm sure you can hear my voice trembling.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So I don't know. I'm trying to hang in there the best way I can, but it's scary.
Well, and I think we all, speaking with a lot of our parents, we really understood that. And so that's why we wanted to give you guys this time to just talk. Just let's talk through it. Let's talk about, what we're feeling, what we are experiencing. And let's see how we can be of assistance to each other, because that's really all we can do right now is just be with each other and support each other as much as possible.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. I'm muting you now. Hold on. Miss Tolson, I'm coming to you. Hold on 1 second. Okay, Miss Tolson.
Yes, I'm here.
There you go. Go ahead.
Okay. I can relate to some of the previous comments and parents speaking on the kids and the frustration of keeping them busy, knowing there's not a lot to do. But my son is extremely bored, and of course, there's not much. I don't want to take him to the grocery store. But sometimes I will take him. We'll have our gloves and things on, but it's a lot. It is a lot, and especially for the kids that do suffer with depression or ADHD, just trying to keep them busy is a handful. I just had to order my son another phone, so that he can do at least some things on his own. But I haven't received any information from his school regarding the notebooks or tablets or anything for the kids. So it's kind of like, as parents, we have to come out of pocket for things like that. And that can be a challenge too, because we're already, I am working from home, but of course limited. So it's a lot. So I might agree with them, with the previous parents.
Definitely. And I would urge you to, I'm not sure what school your child attends, but definitely try to reach out to an administrator. I know some schools have been working on getting some of their students tablets or laptops or something to assist. So definitely let's try to work with the school and see if there's anything that we can get from them, at least for the older students. I'm not quite sure if all of the younger students, like that 3rd grade and under, if they were able to get any electronics. But I know for a lot of the older students, a lot of the schools was trying to partner with the parents to get them some technology. But we can definitely try to assist you with that as well, depending on what school you attend, if it's one of our schools.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, someone else. Okay, All right, Miss Bachelor. Sorry about that. Miss Bachelor has an emergency. She's working right now. Someone else wanted to comment. Please let me know. Either raise your hand or or send us a message. Okay, hold on. I see you, Miss Davis, coming to you. Okay, go ahead.
So some of the challenges that I face is because right now I'm a full-time student and I also work 2 part-time jobs. So it's like my schedule, because I work at a chiropractic facility, they're not allowing us to be off right now. So I still have to work as an administrator there. And my second job is at a sexual assault hotline. So I'm still kind of like doing trainings and stuff, because by the regulation of the DOD, you have to do it. So with 2 toddlers, my children is 3 and 5. So with 2 toddlers, dealing with that issue is kind of like, how do you balance it all? I do try to ask for help as much as possible with my grandmother, or maybe their dad, like when he gets off of work and stuff like that. But the kids don't really understand what's going on. All they know is they miss school and they're video chatting with their teachers. And my son has chronic asthma, so he's not able to go outside at all. We've even had to do his doctor's appointment virtually just to ensure safety measures, because with this type of illness, anything could, be detrimental. So honestly, we've just been trying to just be strong and honestly just stay away. I think the best way to do it is to stay away and stay clear. Due to the fact that I do work at a chiropractic facility, I do see a lot of the research that is going on right now. So it's like, you just have to stay away, and that's the safest way to be right now, unfortunately. Even though it's, it seems like it's a big thing, it's better safe than sorry.
Thank you for that. And thank you for bringing that to our attention. And I definitely want to make sure that we took away from what you said with your son having asthma. Really, parents of children with asthma really need to be careful with their children at this point, because of how it affects the lungs. We definitely need to make sure to take extra precaution for all of our children, but definitely our children and yourselves who have asthma, because it is, really affecting them really, really bad. I mean, it's affecting everyone, but that is a main, one of the triggers that could make you, have an asthma attack, in addition to all of the other things that may go on with this virus. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else would like to speak, say something? Go ahead and unmute yourself. Ms. Zachary, did you want to say something else?
Yes. Another thing, it's not really a challenge for me, but it's more so a concern for like the elderly people. The way people are going and like over excessively buying tissue and water, and not thinking that it's people that can't get to these things as quickly as they can. They don't have no sense of, care for elderly people. Like, I've went to the grocery store several times and I seen an old lady, and she just like, it's no tissue, like it was nothing for her to use to wipe herself with. And it took for my dad, because thankfully my dad lives right down the street, and he happened to buy like the flushable wipes. So he like, you know what, just stay here with her. He went home and got 2 packs of flushable wipes and gave it to her. And that's crazy that has to happen, because like, out of everything that you can think to need, the only thing people are thinking to get is tissue. What about your hygiene products? Stuff like, more than just tissue and water that we all need at this point in time.
Yeah. And that is a big issue. What I've seen is some stores are, they have now started allotting just like one tissue, bulk of tissue, or a box of tissue or something per person, because they saw that people were hogging it. And and they didn't have any, for everyone else. And that is definitely something that we need to take note of. If we do run into a store that has those different supplies, you know, make sure you leave some for someone else. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
No problem.
Did anyone else want to say something else? Kelly, did you want to say something else? I can't tell if this was from earlier. I'll mute you just in case. Go ahead. Did you want to say something else?
Oh yeah. Also, what I've been trying to do to kind of keep myself from going crazy as well. With the other young lady, I had a couple panic attacks, anxiety attacks as well because of this. So it's really hard to. The best thing you really can do is probably to isolate yourself, to take breathers, and to, you know, clear your mind and get everything together, because the more you think about it, the worse it will be. The worse the anxiety, the worse the panic attacks, everything. So you just got to try to stay strong and just pray and just try to do things to keep your mind off it, and try to avoid watching the news as much as possible, because that right there will cause severe anxiety and panic attacks.
Thank you for that. We're going to go over some tips later on about just, you know, ways that you can minimize your stress, you know, and things that you can do. But we definitely, you know, recommend not watching the news so often, because right now it is really, it's just traumatic to even watch the news. The things that they're saying, you know, the numbers consistently increase. And so I know we want to stay informed, but we're going to give you some tips about kind of how often you should watch the news, so that you are not, you know, driving yourself to this increased anxiety, you know, that we're feeling. Ms. Muhammad, I'm going to come to you, and then we're going to go ahead and continue in with the presentation.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to touch back on, you know, the kids and things like that. And I guess I'm trying to find some type of a solution or just direction as far as what to do for those of us who do have children with physical and mental medical issues. Like with my son, he has he has a history rather of respiratory issues, asthma and things like that. But he also has autism and some other issues that we're dealing with. And it's been trying. Like, I've been outside a few times, but now that with the conflicting reports as far as like how it's being contracted. Like, we don't know if it's just something that it's hand to hand or just droplets. Now they're saying it's airborne, or whatever the case may be. If it's airborne, can we, you know, should I risk taking him outside because he needs to be outside? Like, he needs to be able to, like, you know, run around and be active. You know, like one of the other women said, like, I've gained weight. Like, I can feel it for the past 2 weeks. I know I've gained weight because I'm sitting here eating and not really actively doing things like I'm used to, you know, and so is he. Like, you know, trying to figure out some type of direction or way to be active. I've actually, for myself, signed up for one of the fitness classes that I was already in. They're doing virtual, but as far as like for them, I don't know what to do about that situation. And then I think this morning he had some issues as far as like he just felt stressed out. It's kind of becoming a mundane Monday through Friday get up and sit on a computer all day, and he's just sitting here. The only reason why he's not on it now because I'm on it. So like just becoming lethargic and overwhelmed. He had kind of like a moment this morning, and I tried to like, you know, breathe through it and walk him through it, but I want to take him outside, but then I don't want to take him outside because I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So,
thank you for that, Ms. Muhammad. Okay, hold on. Oh, sorry. Ms. Davis, I can't tell if you wanted to say something again. No, your hand went down. If you did, go ahead, Ms. Davis.
So I just wanted to say, like for me, I don't know what you guys have been doing with the kids, but I try to be creative as possible. Miss Kim does not let me slow down. So we've been doing like Zumba classes in the house. The kids love that. They love it because I do Zumba, so they love it. We also do like the virtual tours on like the museums, watching the animals at the zoo, because even though they're closed, they're still allowing you to see other other pieces of other places inside of the animal zoo. So just being creative.
Thank you for that. And that's a really good resource that you just gave to the parents. I'm not sure if all of the parents knew that. However, most of the zoos, they still have their cameras on where you can go, look at the animals, like she said, go do some virtual tours of some museums. So those are very good resources. Thank you very much for that. So we are going to continue. Next, we're going to have Miss Madison Myrick. She's going to go over just some different things that you can do while parenting and working at home.
Hi, everyone. So thanks for meeting with us, being with us during this time. Thank you, parents, for sharing all of your information. I'm currently obviously at home as well, and I'm a parent, and I feel a lot of you all struggles because I do also have to work, and I have a 1-year-old, so she's very busy. And yeah, it's just a lot. My husband is essential, so he has to work. So it's a lot going on. I definitely understand everyone's concerns and issues about what's going on. So I definitely want to address a lot of parents that I have spoken to. They are dealing with the concept of just working at home and parenting at the same time. And so I know that has been a very, very big challenge for everyone, because it's not that we're just working at home like I guess if you had an opportunity to work from home and you were just working at home while your kids are at school or at daycare, you're working from home with your kids during a pandemic. And so that is something that I want to address, is that we are in a very stressful time. We're in a time of crisis. And so I want to identify that. I also want to acknowledge that typically when you're in a crisis mode, such as this one, we have an opportunity to have an adjustment period. And so typically, if you're ever in crisis, a therapist would tell you, well, make sure that you take your time to create an adjustment period. And that adjustment period is between 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes longer, where you're able to reflect, kind of focus, refocus, have some time to yourself, to really just kind of focus on what exactly is going on. But the issue is, in this moment in time, is that we don't have an adjustment period. We have to figure out what to do right now. And that is really the issue that everyone is having, is that we don't have a time to calm down, think about what's going on, to debrief. We don't have that opportunity. And so this is why I kind of presented some of these tips, because we do have to figure out what to do in the moment at that time. So obviously, I am pointing out parenting, working at home during the pandemic. And so one of the things that is important is establishing a routine. And so typically I would say, because we're in a crisis, it's okay to kind of not have a routine at this point. But we're kind of in week 3, week 4 for some of us. And so I say establishing a routine. It doesn't have to be too strenuous, but something that helps guide you along the way so that you're able to keep up with what's going on. So for example, if you know that you're working from home, making sure that you're at least writing down for the week, at least, what you plan to do. So I know for me, like I have my, planner here, my notebook and things, and I write down, okay, for the week, what do I want to accomplish for the week? Because typically at work, you probably do that in a day or maybe every 2 days time frame, but give yourself a week to kind of say, okay, well, since I'm at home, I want to accomplish this for the week. Even for your kids' schedule, writing down something that kind of guides you, if you're looking up and it's 12:30, oh, it's 12:30. Oh, they could be having snacks. Sometimes we forget that stuff. I know I do. Sometimes I forget, oh, I got to make sure she has snack, or I got to make sure she's, doing something because I have to go and hop on a call or whatever the case is. And so trying to schedule, at least write it down so that you can visually see it. I did one for my daughter here that I'll show you guys. It's a Sloan schedule. It doesn't always go this way, trust me, but at least I can look up and say, oh, I can give her some cartoon time. Or, maybe she needs a nap. It kind of guides me on how I kind of need to, at least sometimes give her some structure in that time period. Another thing is scheduling some physical time or some play time. And so physical activity, I say, I love that someone suggested doing the Zumba class, because those indoor workout activities, I definitely feel you on the eating and consuming more food, and not only because of our anxiety, but because it's right in front of us. We have this stock pile of food, and so now it's just like, oh, might as well snack, and it's easy for the kids to do that as well. So just making sure that you are doing some type of activity and things of that nature. There's a lot of things on YouTube right now where people are just throwing their free Zumba videos and workout Let's Move videos out there so that people are actually moving. I love that families are starting to participate in TikToks and creating those. I think that's really good family time, and just scheduling that play time where you can also participate in it as well whenever you have a chance, because I know it can be hard when you're working from home. Asking for help. Asking for help is kind of a catch-22 right now, because you want to ask for help, but the way that we're in this pandemic and the way that things are happening is, we're kind of apprehensive about asking for help. So for example, typically my daughter would go to my in-laws, at least some point during the week if this, were happening. But my father-in-law actually has had pneumonia before. And so I am kind of apprehensive about taking my daughter in and out, because my husband still goes to work, so he's still in and out of the house. And so I don't want to transfer anything that could possibly be about. I'm as well very anxious about it. And so, I have to kind of rely on my partner to say, okay, well, if I'm not going to do that, then we kind of have to work out our schedules. But if you feel comfortable asking for help and asking grandma or anyone else, because sometimes we don't have a choice, just make sure that you're asking. Also making sure that you're being in full contact with your schools, or even us, your therapists, so that we can contact the schools if need be. I heard someone mention about not having the tools or not having a computer, extra computer. Let us know so that we can contact the school, because I know the schools are super busy, and so there's influx of calls from parents and stuff like that. So if you have another person that kind of has that insight to a principal or assistant principal, to where we can, hey, one of my parents, they need a computer ASAP, their kid's not able to do X, Y, and Z, we can certainly do that for you. That's definitely what we're here for. So even asking your outside resources and community to help you when you need to. Check in with your partner or spouse. So I say this because both, if you have two partners in a home or two spouses in a home, or whether you're by yourself or, someone is helping you, or whatever the case is, I want to touch on two things. Have someone with you. Check in with them to make sure, everything's okay, or, what are they thinking on their end? They may be working just like you. They may be nervous just like you. And so a lot of the times we keep a lot of our anxieties inside. We're not really expressing them as we go along in the moment. So making sure that you ask those questions to that person that's right there with you. If you're by yourself, I still like to identify partners as friendships and people who you talk to. And so making sure that you at least check in with a friend or someone you trust at least weekly, or sometimes more than that at this point because we're not physically seeing them, but making sure you're checking in with somebody to kind of relay your feelings and your fears and anxieties, because they may feel a similar way. They may be able to kind of give you some advice on something that they're doing, but it just allows you to get a chance to cope in a sense because you're actually talking your feelings out. And so instead of keeping those feelings and thoughts inside. And prioritizing your work projects. So this is really big for me because I have a lot of different projects at work. And so I have to prioritize. And so a lot of the times, especially when you're working at home with your kiddos, you might spend a chunk of from 1 to 4 with your kids. That is the reality of working at home because things are unpredictable. I mean, I heard someone mention their kid who, has a disability. Things are unpredictable. If they're having a meltdown from 1 to 2, we have to obviously prioritize our child at that moment in time. And so the biggest thing is making sure that you communicate, with a colleague, and I say a colleague because, maybe your colleague can kind of help guide you in any way or just say, oh, okay, I'll kind of do this while maybe, you can do that. So if you can rely on a colleague possibly to help you, and soliciting help, of course, from your boss, depending on, I'm hoping that administration and bosses are a little bit more flexible these days. I know I rely on my boss a lot to tell her, what's going on and what's really happening. And saying, I think I can get to this at this time or whatever the case is. And just being honest about your work projects and what you have to do. We know that right now family is coming first. And so I know that work is a priority and that bringing, that income, that consistent income is a priority as well. But, we have to protect our families as well. So you have to make sure you're prioritizing your work projects. And throughout the day, if you have that stint from 1 to 4 where you are, contributing that time to your kids, then maybe that means, then this is obvious. I honestly think it's kind of not the best habit, but, once my daughter goes to sleep from 8 to 9, I might contribute some time to my work. And it's just the sacrifice, unfortunately, that I've had to do personally because, I know that there's times where I just cannot during the day commit to my work time. And so just prioritizing as you can. Practicing patience. So I say this, practicing patience with your kiddos because we're just in a really trying time and just understanding that they are adjusting too, just like you. And so we will touch on that in a couple minutes, but just making sure that, you practice patience and do some self-care for yourself, whether that's go run in the closet, run in the bathroom, whatever you need to do. I know there's many different modes and tactics, but just taking that time for yourself. And lastly, having some personal time. And I highly, highly encourage that when you can, even when the kids are asleep at night, if you just need a moment and on the couch to yourself to just kind of sit and think, take that moment and really just sit down, write down some things that you're really feeling. I highly encourage journaling right now or just kind of putting some notes in your phone about what's happening and how you're feeling about it, just so you can kind of have a day-to-day log of, exactly how you're dealing with everything. And so, yeah, these are just a couple of tips that I recommend. This is pretty much everyone's first time during the pandemic. So we're all trying to make it through and make it work. Let me know if you have any questions.
Okay, so now we're going to go to Miss Kim, and she is going to speak about just how to talk to your kids about the coronavirus and what's going on right now. Go ahead, Miss Kim.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Kim. For those that don't know me, I'm a licensed professional counselor and I'm a board certified registered art therapist. And I work with preschool students, but hopefully what I review would be helpful for your kids that are your age as well. So the first most important thing that I didn't put on the slide is really for you to focus on how you're dealing with your own anxiety. Before talking to your child, try to get yourself in a place where you feel like you can have a dialogue with your child so you can be most present and just being really compassionate to yourself. I know I've had my moments where I've needed to cry or I've needed to take a break. So whatever that looks like for you, taking a nice hot shower, drinking hot tea, which will help your parasympathetic system, which will really make you feel calm. Something that you feel is really grounding that can get you more in the present moment. And then the second one is looking developmentally at your child. If you have an older child, they have more access to Google, to go on YouTube, to go on the web. And what you're going to ask them is, are your friends talking about coronavirus? What are they saying? So this is kind of like research building. What does your child know first? If you have younger children, I'm sure they're aware that people are wearing masks. There's a different energy that's going around when you're taking them to the grocery store. So you would kind of ask them what they have observed that's different in their scenery. And this just gives you a chance to find out if they're hearing wrong information, if there's like catastrophizing going on and where the anxiety is. I recommend that the parents consume the news. So be mindful that even though your children are really small, they're watching everything that's going around. They're really absorbent. So if you have the TV going on, just be mindful of where your child is as well. Sometimes I've told parents to mute the TV and have the words because the children are not going to be as receptive if there's not a noise that goes with it, which is why learning in school has a lot of music and sing songs along the way. Then going from filtering the news from factual to emotional, I want you to focus on the factual, and that can help the anxiety as well. And doing your best not to share all the information at once, because sometimes that can really overwhelm the child. And I want all the parents to know, even as clinicians, we don't know all the answers, and it's okay to say, I don't know. And when you're talking to your child, understand where your body position is. If your child is sitting and you're standing and they're playing with the toy, how engaged are they in the conversation? I would mirror their body. If they're doing crisscross applesauce sitting in front of you, sit in front of them. If you have more than one child at home, we all know each of your children communicate differently. They absorb information differently. You can separate the children to meet with you in your room or a favorite spot that they feel safe in to have a conversation with you so they can address their questions. I think also, asking them to maybe hold an animal that they feel really safe with when talking about it. It's okay for especially our little ones, the ones that I work with, to make eye contact periodically. But if the information is really tense, I've noticed that eye contact is hard. Just have things in place that make it comfortable for your child to have a dialogue. It's important to speak calm and reassuringly and offer comfort and honesty. Give your kids space to share their fears. And at this age, with elementary and preschool, they're very egocentric. So how does the world relate to me? How does it relate to the ones that I love? So it's natural for the kids to say questions like, could I be next? Could that happen to me? And if you look on the web, if you look on YouTube videos, a lot of PhD health experts say it's okay to tell your child that, this illness doesn't affect children as much as adults, but there are things that we can do to help ourselves. So what kids need right now is not only what Madison said, which is routine in their schedule and predictability, which actually creates a safe place, is having kids feel in control. So teaching a kid that eating well is going to help you and washing your hands. And I always play games with my kids sometimes that I talk to, and they go to the bathroom and we wash our hands, and I tell them, oh, we missed a spot. And sometimes I've had the kids write like a graffiti on their hand, something, a loving message, and the goal is to kind of wash it off at the end of the day, and that allows you to understand like how much your child is washing their hands. We're not trying to provoke this like germophobia, but we're trying to create these things in place that your children can feel like they can contribute to what's happening, and to help them, their family as well. This is also a good time to create a family tradition. A tradition is anything you do more than once. I know my family on Friday nights, we rent a movie or we put a DVD in and we have popcorn. So think about like, when can there be a special day? All the days are blurring right now, right? That's why there's a routine that Madison had mentioned about, when do I put the academics, if you have a set time with the teachers that are talking with you, when do they usually eat, and then a rest time. So, you know, pick a day of the week that you feel like you can create like a tradition. If it's like a baking Monday, or let's look at the aquarium and see if there's something new. The Cincinnati Zoo is my favorite. There's a hippopotamus named Fiona that the kids love. And they are actually have like, they have penguins as well that are walking around the aquarium because no one's there. That's one of my favorites. I know one of my family members talked about yoga. Cosmic Yoga is on YouTube. It's completely free. She has a green screen on the back and she has wonderful landscapes. So especially the mom that has the child that has autism or other children that really need something to make them feel grounded and motivated and have movement going, Cosmic Yoga can really absorb your child's attention and also move them through an exercise that helps them feel more grounded, and then gives you also a relief for yourself to do what you need to do for like 30 minutes. Okay, so the next one is going to be Kanisha's. Kanisha is my colleague, and she's going to talk about what stress looks like. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Kanisha Wallace, and I'll be talking to you about how stress and anxiety shows up in your body and how it shows up in our lives as well. So a lot of times, I did hear somebody talk about them having like panic attacks. So when you do have panic attacks, you may experience your heart beating really fast. Stress can also have you to be feeling racing thoughts. So did I do this? I didn't do this. And you constantly thinking about it. Because of that, you may have headaches. You may experience some dizziness as well, and also chest pain. So that's how stress and anxiety can show up in your body. In our life, you may go to sleep and you may have nightmares or just dreams that are just unwanted dreams. You may also have difficulty falling asleep. Overeating is a little different because during COVID-19, almost everybody is overeating. We're, trying to either fill the space because we're bored, but it also can be stress also. And the ultimate thing is sickness. So a lot of times when we're stressing, we tend to get sick. So in the hospitals now, yes, we do have active cases for COVID-19, but we also have people that have pneumonia, people that have strep throat. And that's because this is a lot. This pandemic is a lot, and it's causing us stress and changes in our everyday lives. I just want to let you know that a little bit of anxiety is good because it kind of keeps us on our toes. For example, if you are going in for an interview, you may have some anxiety about what are they going to ask? How should I look? What should I wear? So you may prepare by maybe having a mock interview with one of your friends, and that keeps us on our toes. Now, if you find that you have too much anxiety or stress, we need to make efforts to de-stress. And I'll get into talking about that. If you're trying to de-stress and it's not working, then this is the time we need to reach out for support, either from family members or a therapist. Next. All right, so the number one thing is when you're de-stressing, you need to make sure that you're eating. I know that sometimes being stressed can make you feel like, I don't want to eat. I don't want to do anything. But you need to make sure you're eating, drinking enough water, and getting your proper rest. And so even when you are getting rest, you also need to think about your mind. So again, going back to the racing thoughts, you know, your mind is constantly going, worried about so many things. So you need to rest your mind. So that can either be through meditation, yoga, listening to some calming music, or either just taking a nap. Just like Madison said, writing your thoughts and feelings inside of a journal, you can do that. You know, if you don't have anybody to talk to, or even if you do have somebody to talk to and you don't want to talk to them, you can write your feelings inside of a journal. And if you want to take it a step further, you can write out possible solutions or plans to your thoughts and your feelings. All right, so I've broken this slide up with tips for parents and guardians and for tips for children. So the first thing I'm gonna go over is the parents. So I find that a lot of times with kids, you want to debrief with them at the end of the day because they're able to receive it better because everybody is kind of calm and getting ready for bed. So if you know, you can talk to them about how are you feeling about what's going on, how can I support you, and then be open to learning how they can support you as well, because kids can help you out too. Parents, you can have bubble baths. Kids can have bubble baths as well. You can light some candles. I do know that lavender has a calming effect. If you do put like essential oil, lavender drops inside of your bubble bath. Peppermint oil also relieves tension headaches. So they say if you put it on your temples, it can relieve some of your headaches. Most importantly for parents, I want everybody to pull from their ups and downs that they've been through in the past. Because what happens is you have to remind yourself about who you are and what you've actually made it through. So essentially, you're just adjusting yourself from what you've made it through in the past to fit this situation of COVID-19, because we got this. Tips for children. This is just things to maybe help them with their boredom. So maybe they're coloring or blowing bubbles. They can try to catch the bubbles. They can try to count the bubbles. Just like Madison said, you can do TikToks. Age appropriate, of course, but the TikToks have been bringing a lot of laughter to people. So laughter is good for the soul. In session, when I talk to kids, they do talk about their work and how it's extremely overwhelming for them at times. So I want kids to take breaks when they're doing their work. So even though they're at school for maybe 8 or 9 hours, they're essentially not learning. Maybe about 4 hours they're learning. So you got to remember the transitions from one class to the other. They go to lunch, they go to PE class. So, you know, make sure they're taking their breaks so they don't feel overwhelmed. They can also help a parent cook a meal. They can help them clean up, organize a closet that, you know, we've been trying to organize for forever. We have the time. Hold on one second. Something's going on with my screen. I apologize for that. And then something that's really underrated is plants. Now, I do understand that right now that they want you to open the windows and go out, but this, you know, this is just something to keep in mind. Picking out plants, because plants represent life. It represents life outside of all the chaos that's going on. And plants can also improve the air quality as well. I do know that the snake plant, for one, improves oxygen, and you know this disease is respiratory. And the peace lily plant removes mold from your house. So, oh, and one more thing. It has been a study that when you give flowers and plants to people in a hospital, they will report that their spirits are uplifted. You know, so plants are underrated, but they're good. All right, so my last slide is about games that promote togetherness. I Spy is a game that's good. You don't have to buy anything. You can just say, I spy something blue, and the kid might say the sky. Simon Says. This is a game that's good for kids because they can practice their active listening skills. Jenga is another game that teaches kids self-control or concentration, because when you're pulling out the pieces, you have to be very careful not to knock the whole thing down. Let's see. Charades. Charades is a good one because you don't have to buy anything. The kids can just act out something and then you can guess what it is, or vice versa. Parents, you can act out something and the kids can guess what it is. A lot of times when I do it with the kids, they want to act out their teacher or their parents. And guess who? Candyland, Uno, and Puzzles, they all promote like sportsmanship, turn taking, and promotes like patience. So just on top of these games, if you don't have anything, you can always download games online. Or if the kids are creative, they can make up a game and you can do that. Thank you. Now we'll go back, I believe, to Beth, and she's going to give you some tips about controlled breathing and things. Oh.
Yes. Before we get into wash your hands, something I've been doing with my kids, and it's kind of a good way to get your kids to clean up their toys too, is do a scavenger hunt. So if you see toys and they're different colors, you can have them bring you an object and then put them back in a box. So it's just a playful game. I count to 10. It speeds up that process, but it also keeps them really grounded as well. And my kids really love that game. So this one is washing your hands. So when do we wash our hands? And some things that, you know, I haven't been mindful of either is some of my families have pets. So anytime you're touching your pet, you know, wash your hands, using the bathroom, of course, sneezing, blowing your nose and coughing. And I teach my kids to cough in their elbow. We do that in school as well. So just a friendly reminder, since they're at home and they feel relaxed, you know, cough in your elbow. And touching a cut or falling, playing outside, but of course we're really limiting the time that kids are having outside. And before eating, I'm one of these people that forget to wash my hands before I eat. I clean my hands after. So even if you want to print this out or have a sheet so you guys can kind of check in, this just also helps your kid, you know, stay healthy and you stay healthy as well. So we're going to get into yoga and meditation. I had put in the chat box 2 things that I use, and I recommended cosmic yoga for kids. And there's something called Yoga with Adrienne, with 1 N. And she's on YouTube, and she actually talks through the yoga, and it almost becomes like a free therapy. She has one on vulnerability, one about resilience, and they're all geared for a different focus for the week. And I do that personally as well, and that helps me de-stress. So we're just gonna take a moment. We definitely are digesting a lot of information. So wherever you are, if you're on bed, if you're in your chair, if you're standing up, find a comfortable spot. And if you wanted to put your feet on the ground, if you're sitting, if you're laying in bed, try to just kind of relax your body to get in a position where we can kind of relax. So we're going to breathe through our nose and hold it for 5 seconds and out. And we really want to hear the exhale, because that is all of the toxins and the stress that we're holding within our bodies and the anxiety. We're really trying to blow it out. So breathe in, hold, exhale slowly. One more time, breathe in, hold, exhale, and do as many breaths as you need. Just remember that breathing really helps regulate the body. It regulates the mind. If it unlocks an emotion for you, tearfulness, joy, energy, it's what you need in the moment. So just let your body go through it. Okay, the next one. Oh my gosh, my kids love this. It's called the butterfly pose. And it's a great stretch for adults, for children. It helps relieve your headaches. It also helps with your posture. And for women that are watching this, it helps for cramps as well. So as you can see, the most important thing is that the back is straight. Almost imagine a string pulling your kid's head back and everything is straight and the feet are coming together. I like to give my children a choice of 2 ingredients that go together. My kids love mac and cheese and chicken nuggets, so I would kind of have them touch their foot and pretend they're putting an ingredient on one foot, putting an ingredient on another foot, and sticking them together. Please excuse my singing talents, but there's a song that goes with this and the kids really love it, and I'll sing it to you. And if your kids are listening, they can sing along with me as well. When they're doing this, they move their knees up and down like a butterfly's wing, so they can go as fast as they want or as slow as they want. And I invite grandmas, moms, dads to do this as well. So here goes the song. Fly like a butterfly, fly like a butterfly, fly like a butterfly in the sky. Fly like a butterfly, fly like a butterfly, fly like a butterfly in the sky. And it's really fun, and the kids love it, and it's something really easy to do. And yeah, that's just something that you can do any moment you feel like your kid is kind of all over the place. And for preschool kids, stress kind of looks almost like they're really unfocused and they're not able to manage calming down. So you can do the techniques Kanisha has said, but also yoga is wonderful. Okay, this is called the child's pose. The most important is your knees are going to be outward and you fold your body down and kind of elongate your back and your arms. And the great thing about this is a hip stretch. You can actually move your hips up and down, and it's a really nice release for the tension that's in your back. So it helps relieve stress and anxiety. It stretches the hips, thighs, and ankle. It relieves constipation and calms the mind. So sometimes I'll do this before I go to bed. I've been noticing I'm sitting in my chair a lot doing telehealth. When I'm with your kids, I'm like running around. We're making a fort, like we're like playing tennis inside my room. So this is the first time I really am kind of sitting a lot, and I'm sure you guys are sitting a lot more. So, you know, this is a really simple stretch to do, and I can tell you if you try it once, you'll always, you know, keep practicing. I promise you, it's really nice. Another thing that I'm noticing is that I used to work and be active and then use TV time to relax. Now there's the blend of our pleasure and kind of our pain is coming from the same conduit, which is TV. So if the news is overwhelming, find a show. There's lots of shows on Netflix that you can kind of pick an episode. You can binge watch it if you want, or you pick an episode for one night. But that's kind of separated my time where I picked a Netflix series that is not overwhelming to kind of be part of. This is the tree pose. This is where I get the most laughter. As you can tell by the little boy, he is putting his leg on his thigh. It's important not to put your leg on your kneecap because we don't want to put pressure on that and move it in a different way. But this is also like the parenting child exercise. So they're going to have a hard time balancing. You can kind of be a tree yourself behind your child and they're going to lean on you. So there's that emotional support. There's that metaphor that my parents are my rock. They're my tree. And, you know, I've been noticing from talking to my parents, everything about the new saying social distance, they've become less affectionate with their child. It's not at all conscious, it's actually unconscious. So here's the opportunity to connect with your child physically at home. It's really enjoyable. It's something that is there that provides tension because you're tensing your body. It's also kind of managing and accomplishing a goal, because the goal is to become a strong tree. And the metaphor is like, I'm a tree, I'm strong, and I have my roots. And then when they're leaning on you, you can say that we're growing as a tree together. Mhm.
So we definitely want to thank all of the therapists for all of their tips, tricks, strategies. We really hope that someone left here with something, just new and different that they can try this week. We wanted to give you a resource if you all are struggling with any mental health issues or any other issues, reach out to us. We can, just assist you through different things. We've been really trying to provide our families with a lot of different community resources right now. And so please continue to reach out. Let us know what you need. We also have on here the Department of Behavioral Health. They are a great resource as well. And so they have a hotline, 1-888-7-WE-HELP, which is 1-888-793-4357. You can call them to get different resources if you're in DC. You can also call 311. That is the mayor's helpline. And they, can really connect you to anything in the District of Columbia, okay? Another resource for you if you're dealing with any mental health issues, and maybe you're not in DC, maybe you're in Maryland, and I'm not sure what insurance you would have, but reach out to a care manager at your insurance company. If you look on the back of your card, it says member services. And they will be able to connect you either with a therapist or a psychiatrist or psychologist, or anyone who you need in this time. Many of us, well, all of us, we are considered essential and we are all still working. And so we are here for you all. We know this is a trying time for everyone. And so we want to be here as a support. So definitely utilize your resources. We'll also be sending out to everyone who registered just a list of different resources that we have gathered, whether, it's food resources, whether it's mental health resources. We will put together our resource list and we will be sharing that with you guys as well. So this is the end. We definitely want to say thank you for attending. Please, now, if you have any questions that maybe we did not answer, or maybe you had a question of something that we touched on, you can ask us those questions now. You can send me a message in the chat or raise your hand so that we can unmute you. Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Zachary.
Hey, I just want to say thank you for, giving us the opportunity to, open and have an open forum to just express ourselves. Because I know for me, I feel more comfortable expressing myself to, you all, Miss Kim, and my daughter also, she talked to someone from behavioral health, and so they help a lot too as far as my anxiety and what I'm going through along with my daughter. Because, that goes hand in hand. You can't help her when your glass is half full. That's what I was told. So I really appreciate, you all open up this platform for us to be able to, release all the tension and pressure that we have going on.
Yes. And so and that was the purpose. We really wanted to just be here as a support. We know that you guys are dealing with a lot. We know that you guys are very stressed right now. And, we wanted to just make sure that we can be here to support you, and we can just hear you out, hear your concerns, hear what's going on, and for you to be with other parents so that you know that you're not alone in this. So thank you all for attending, and let us know if you think this will be helpful. We are thinking about maybe doing something like this each week. So let us know if you think that would be helpful, or maybe every other week. We just want to be here to support you as much as we can. Any other questions, comments before we get off? Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate your attentiveness.
I added in the chat box. We will also be putting a lot of these resources that we had in this chat on our Instagram page. So I know you guys are following your school's Instagrams pages, and some of the schools are posting some things. We're also going to be posting a lot of things as well, so you can refer back to this. And someone also asked if we could just share this recording with someone. So we can also do that.
Yes, we'll share the recording with you all. And yes, please follow us on Instagram. We're trying to post a lot of tips and strategies and just encouragement on our page. And so the page is at Smile Therapy LLC, all one word, no spaces. So please go on if you have social media. It's the same on Facebook. Please follow us so that you can stay informed of what we are doing, and then see all the resources that we put on our page. We want to make sure that we're giving you as much information, positive information as possible. Any other questions, comments, concerns? If you would like us to do it weekly, Ms. Zachary said yes. Let us know, because if we have, enough people saying yes, then we'll make sure we make ourselves available to do it. Any other questions? I'll give you guys one more minute. Okay, Ms. Tosin said yes, weekly. Thank you. Ms. Briscoe, hey, Quintina, weekly. Thank you. Yes, weekly, Ms. Ryder. Okay. Okay, so the consensus looks like weekly. So please let us know what other things you all would like us to discuss, because we have ideas that we are thinking of, but we want to know what else would you want us to talk about for our different weekly, because we're going to be touching on different things each week. So you can put it in the chat box right now if you have any ideas, or you can email us. Email us at info at smiletherapyservices.com. Send us an email if you have any other ideas. If you have a therapist already with Smile, just let your therapist know. If you're already one of our clients, let your therapist know. Or if you are connected to me in some way, just send me a text message and let me know what else would you guys like to see in the presentation. And we want to make sure that we get it to you. Okay. Ms. Ryder says, keep in focus as we move to the home stretch of the school year 2020. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Ryder. The earliest age a child can learn to meditate. Okay, thank you, Ms. Briscoe. Any other things that you guys want us to talk about? I'm gonna give you a few minutes to post it. Ways to help our children sleep in their own bed. That's a good one. Okay, we'll put that on our list. Especially now, I know the kids want to sleep with you, so it's gonna be tough. And parents, let us know if you want us to do something for you, specifically. And so Ms. Beth is just wondering, if you guys want to just have some self-care time, if we come on and, do some meditation, maybe some yoga with you, some journaling, some art, let us know. We can do something like that as well. Okay, so yep, we can add some yoga for the parents. Maybe do a yoga video with Miss Kim. Okay, perfect. Another one, how to keep a positive attitude with your spouse and kids during this time when you both are at home all day during this time. Yes, that's definitely something we have to touch on because it can be trying. So we have that written down, so we'll make sure that that is on one of our lists. Okay, we'll give you a few more minutes to give us any other topics that you would like us to hit on while we are doing our weekly webinar. And just to let you know, we are having another webinar on Thursday, and that webinar is aimed at parents with middle school and high school students, particular and specific. So it will be a little different from this one, you know, because they need different types of strategies, being as though they're older. So let me know if you would like, if you have not received that link, let me know if you would like to receive that link and I'll email it to you. Okay, so I think that's all of them. We have some really good topics. Okay, Ms. Zachary, Ms. Kim will get you the link, Ms. Zachary, for the middle school and the high school webinar for Thursday. All right, so we're going to end now. This was good time. It's almost 3:30. Thank you all. Definitely thank you for attending. Thank you for participating. Just know we are here to support you all, and your students and your, you know, our students. We want to be as helpful as possible. So just please let us know. Like I said, if you think of anything else, email us info@smiletherapyservices.com, and we'll definitely make sure that we can support you in any way. Ms. Tolson, if you would, I just really wanted to know what school your child attended so that we can try to see if we can get you some support in the technology. You can send me that privately. Let me know, because we definitely want to support you. And if anyone else have any issues or any needs, please let us know. We want to be as helpful as possible. All right, so I want to thank the therapists again. We have, Ms. Zachary says she needs help as far as online learning. Okay, thank you for that. We'll make sure we get her a resource. We have been working diligently with all of our families to make sure that we are still providing mental health support even while everyone is at home. So I definitely want to thank all of my therapists. I have some other therapists that are not presenting and they are on the webinar. I want to thank all of my therapists. They've been working very hard to make sure that we are continuing our continuity of care for all of our clients. If you or someone you know may be in need of services, please, please, please reach out to us. You can go to smiletherapyservices.com. All right. If there's nothing else, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. And this is the end. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Hey, Sloan. Oh, it's raining. Oh, how do I end?